Let's take a look at how to remediate fraying in your cross ports. If you've taken a look inside any of your tandem parachutes, you might have noticed that the cross ports, particularly on the non-loaded ribs, that's the ones without a line attachment point, tend to fray out over time. Now, this simple technique I'm going to show you is without a doubt the best bang you can get for your buck in rigging. So let's take a quick look at a few of these ribs, and you'll see that even with that little bit of fraying, it's allowed the force to focus in one point, causing the whole damn rib to fail, which suddenly is a few $100s worth of a repair instead of just a few minutes of your time. So to repair the crossport, set up your workspace so that you've got a board that you can slide the rib onto, some clamps handy, and then a hot knife. Doesn't really matter what version of a hot knife. In this case I'm using an on-demand hot knife, but you can use anything you want. And if you don't, you can even get by with a soldering iron, although I will tell you it's a little trickier to do. Starting at one end or the other, put the first rib from one side onto your board and then clamp it. Be super careful to make sure that you don't accidentally get anything else caught under this area, as you're about to cut it with a hot knife, and you could do a lot of damage quickly. Now, as you were probably taught in art class, it's always better to pull a pen than push it. It'll give you a smoother stroke. Same is true with a hot knife, so always pull the hot knife in the direction you wish to go rather than trying to push it. It'll give you a nicer sweeping curve to what you're achieving. Take it easy and stay very conscious of where the hot knife is at all times. If you drop it or accidentally put the parachute down on it, you're going to do a lot of damage. And let's keep that sober thought in our mind, that we've got a $4,000 parachute here that we're hauling this hot knife around, so be careful and pay attention. Stay wide awake. So clamp the rib onto your board, then take your hot knife and just scoop out as little of the material as you can to turn any of those squared frays back into a circle. I should say a curve. And just keep curving them out and going around. Now on some of the frays it may be so small or new that all you have to do is hold the hot knife near to it and it will just sear that edge, sort of cauterize it again, turn it into a hot cut edge instead of a frayed edge. Just go through your whole parachute, working systematically, going to the next rib, and you'll notice I'm cleaning the board in between cuts using a ruler, just dragging the debris and material off of it. And that's just so that it doesn't get caught up and welded into my cut. It's not going to damage it, it just won't look as good. Now, one of the things I've run into is some folks are worried that it's going to dramatically change the way the parachute works if they do scoop out some material. I wouldn't worry too much about it if I was you. That's certainly not been my experience. Now, I'm not going to be cavalier enough to say that it doesn't make any difference. I'm sure it does. I'm sure at some level it affects something by increasing the size of these holes. But I will say that that effect is nothing compared to the effect you're going to have when the rib fails if you do nothing. And frankly, it's a little bit overkill to just patch the whole rib and then recut these holes when you can approach it using this simple method while the damage is still small. As soon as you're finished, hang the parachute up, give it a thorough inspection, and make sure you didn't accidentally burn something you shouldn't have. Good luck!